Hello again, Michael Friedberg here from beautiful North Carolina with yet another shaving product review. This time it's going to be products from Elvado. Now you may have heard that they had closed their doors and the shop had been discontinued. I've used these products many times before. They used to come in these kind of very tall, cool looking, multicolored pumps, and the creams were wonderful, and I've used them a great deal. And in fact, I've actually gone through and finished off a number of their aftershave balms as well. Well, they had to close their doors for a while, but they have come back again with a much more focused lineup. So they've sent me a full kit to review, and I'll talk about all the stuff. But first, there is a shaving cream. There is a pre-shave and beard oil, which I will be using today, but I'll talk about how oils work when you shave. There is a post-shave lotion, alcohol-free obviously, because it's very similar in some ways to the previous aftershave balms, which were very, very nice. They do offer a brush as part of this kit, but this is a very low-end, very basic synthetic brush. I think they're going to end up replacing this. I think there's an option if they can to replace this. This to me feels like the kind of the weakest link in there, but that's by the by because there are 1,000 other kinds of brushes you could buy. This is not the killer part of it. I am going to load this cream from the loading bowl in which I put some. And by the way, I put this in here by using a small plastic scooper that Elvado provided with the kit, which actually was kind of a really nice touch. It's a little white plastic scoop that helps. Let me just show you what the cream looks like in the container. It is, I think it's shea butter, and there's hemp seed oil and a variety of other things in here. It is pretty soft, easily scooped, a little bit tacky as you would expect, pretty concentrated, and the scent, it's the only scent they offer today. This is called Woodland Reserve, and I believe it is cedarwood, sweet orange, and ylang ylang. And it reminds me, maybe just me, but it does remind me of the Lucky Tiger scent, which I do really quite like. So I've taken this cream, and I'm going to show you in the loading bowl again. I've just scooped out a bunch and put that in here for this week's shave. It's quite soft when you touch it. Like, you can definitely indent it quite easily. However, once it's in a bowl, it's very easy to load from that bowl. And you could, if you wanted to, scoop some out and like try to put a little bit on your face and try to face lather from there. I'm going to be using today the Dogwood Handcrafts, the custom brush, which is in this very cool hourglass shape, the red and yellow with this Declaration grooming custom knot. So I've already wet my face. I'm going to start lathering up the soap, cream. I'm really glad to see these guys back because I really like their previous products. They had a very cool presentation. The pumps work really well. The products work really well. And some really nice scents. A relatively damp, but not too wet of a brush. And I'm just going to load. Cream is quite concentrated. You really don't need a lot, but I'm going to be doing a 3-pass shave today. It's the usual 2+ days worth of growth. There we go. Let's take a look at what the face of the brush looks like. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I'll load a little bit more. And then we'll go ahead and start face lathering. I'll get some water on my face, obviously. Oh, but before I do that, what am I thinking? I almost forgot. Hold on. That was almost a disaster in the making. I am going to use this pre-shave oil, which I almost forgot about. Thank goodness I didn't. Normally speaking, I don't use pre-shave oils, and the reason for that is that you often find that if the pre-shave oil is either too thick, it becomes too viscous when you start to shave, especially if you have more than a couple of days worth of growth, or it affects the quality of the lather. And so I'm going to use this. I've used this a couple of days to pre-shave, and I've used it 1 day as a post-shave, and I'll definitely talk about that during at the end of the shave. So it's a glass stopper with a little rubber top, so you just pull in a few. I'm going to put a little bit on each of my fingertips, and I'm not going to use a lot because you really don't need a lot of this. But just be aware that that is a glass tube in there for that. So if you drop it, I'm just going to rub my fingertips together. The reason I'm doing that is that it means a little less cleanup at the end when it comes time to get a hold of your razor. And that is one of the things to bear in mind for this oil, is that it can make your razor handle a little bit slick. Same scent on the pre-shave. And all I'm really doing is just adding a little bit of a layer Not too much. You definitely don't want to overdo it, because again, you have two different possible problems there. One is that you just create too thick of a viscous layer when you start shaving, and it tends to clog up your razor quite a bit. And if you use too much, you run the risk of breaking down the lather. That has not been the case for this pre-shave soap. So I'm just going to wet my face again a little bit, using a very genteel patting, just wetting it a little bit, because you already have oil on there. So here's the brush already loaded, as you know. I'm going to drip a bit of water on to the face of the brush, just a little bit, just to make it a little bit more wet, and start lathering up. This knot does tend to hold a bit of a secret reserve of water at the bottom, so there might be a bit of dripping. But as you can see, no real issue building a lather with the oil on your face. I know some people really like pre-shave oil, and I have used a Floyd pre-shave I used for quite a while. It was really quite nice. And again, I never used too much of it. I think that's kind of the key, is that you don't want to go overboard. And for those of you that are shaving with the pre-shave oil only, I totally get it, because you can see what you're shaving, right? You're not shaving sort of blind because what's covered with lather. But me, I like soap. You can see no issue building a lather. You could make this into a big, thick Santa Claus lather, but there's no need for that. What this cream does benefit from is a little bit of addition of water once it gets wet. There we go. A nice slick feel to it. There we go. All right, rinse my hands. And like I said, that's one reason why I put the oil on my fingertips only, so you don't have to deal with the fact that your hands are themselves covered with the oil. All right, today's razor is going to be a continuation of the chisel face razor from last week. Still very, very happily shaving every day with that. All right, here we go. First pass with the grain. Apparently the aluminum version, I think the owner of Chisel Face said that the aluminum version is even louder than this one. So if you like a really loud razor, go for the aluminum. Scent strength is, I would say, light to medium, not overpowering at all, but definitely there. And stronger in the aftershave and stronger in the beard oil than it is in the soap. This is the last day on this blade. I went back and forth on replacing it, but I got a pretty good shave yesterday, or sorry, on Friday. And so I've decided to risk it, go one more day. I did an experiment Thursday, maybe Wednesday. I did not rinse the razor for the entire pass to see. I'm getting lather everywhere. And you know what? No clogging. Cream was really nice and slick. It's not impeded by the shave oil, as you can see. And no issue going through 2+ days worth of growth. Delightful combination, soap and the razor. Yeah, I was really happy to see that Elvado has, is going to be coming back with sounds like a smaller, much more focused product line, and a rebranding of the look. Although I did quite like the really colorful labels last time, but I totally get it. Start over again with just a different look, different branding. All right, let me rinse off the handle of this brush a little bit, because a lot of cream has dripped onto it. All right, second pass. There should be plenty of soap in here for a third. Yeah, that's got a really nice, creamy, soft feel to it. And I will say, when you rinse your face between passes, as you are supposed to, I hope you guys are, you will get a feel for just how slick this cream is. You get really, really good residual slickness. There we go. And a good example of a thin, slick layer of lather works just as well, and you really don't need those kind of monster thick ones. Just a lot of lather for nothing. Okay, dry off my hands again a little bit, a bit of soap on there. All right, pass number 2, across the grain. Yeah, really nice, easy slide. There we go. I can feel, however, that this is going to be the last shave for this blade. I'm being a little more strict about that, because I think that there were definitely signs that I was not picking up on about the effect of an older blade on my skin. If I can get a good week's shave out of a blade, fantastic. There are some blades that easily go to 2, but if after 4 shaves it starts to get a little wobbly, well, it's not worth the impact on my skin to push that blade another day or 2. Yeah, really nice feel to this. If you're wondering about the residualness of the oil, I can still feel a little bit on my skin, which I think is in part what people are looking for. And as I said, I've actually used it as a pre-shave, but I've used it one day as a post-shave, and for a lot of people, and I'm included in there, a light oil on the skin as a post-shave, very nice. Works really well. It's not overly fatty. It doesn't feel greasy. It's got a good protective layer that lasts and lasts. It may not be as hydrating, let's say, as the aftershave balm itself, which of course is full of all kinds of stuff that's good for your skin. But it does feel really good going on. It makes your skin feel kind of smooth and supple. Okay, I've rinsed. It is now time for pass number 3. I need to rinse some of the water off this brush handle. There we go. And I've just pulled some of the lather out of the brush. There we go. As I said, there should be plenty for pass number 3. Yeah, quite a nice scent. The mix of the cedar wood and the sweet orange and lang lang is a nice familiar combination. There we go. Let me just pull a bit of that lather out. You can see plenty in there, and you can see how well that's holding together. Nice structure to it. There we go. Yeah, nice. All right. Pass number 3. See, it goes so quick. I mean, people complain about how long these shaves take, but the fact is, if I wasn't, talking on camera, I might, in fact, already be kind of done. All right, pass number 3, against the grain. And that is where I normally begin to really feel like, yeah, that blade, yeah, of course I could keep pushing it, but Very, very nice slickness there. Really easy to go over that spot there for the third pass. No friction, no resistance, just really kind of letting the razor, as always in this third pass, just kind of glide over it. Yeah, I'm doing a bit of buffing, but again, with no real pressure. The other way I can tell that the blade is starting to go a bit is that, particularly on that part of the last pass, it takes more than a couple strokes to really get at it. It's also deceptive though because this razor is pretty loud. There we go. Wow. Okay, wonderful. Really, really nice. Go ahead and rinse off again. As I said, when you rinse, you get a really good feel for just how slick this is. Definitely do a cleanup if you wanted to, just with that amount of residual slickness. Easy for me to say. All right, let me towel off a little bit. And then let's do the aftershave. Now, as I said, you could, based on sort of how light the pre-shave oil is, which is also offered as a beard oil, so you can obviously apply it to your beard to keep your beard glistening and well moisturized and well cared for. But you could definitely apply it as a post-shave and you would just get a nice thin, slick layer. Now, I'm going to use the post-shave balm, which I've been quite enjoying. I am not a fan of two different extremes on the post-shave balm. Too runny, not just something about it, I don't like it. And then if it's too thick and takes too much work to work in, not a fan of that. This comes in this is a big bottle of aftershave, by the way. I mean, this is going to last really quite a long time, even with daily use. I've been going between 1 pump, 1.5, and 2. 2 is kind of too much, so I'm just going to do 1 for today, and I'll show you how much comes out for a full pump. And it may not look like much, but as you can see, pretty viscous, not really drippy, but also not too thin. So I'm just going to, and that is plenty. It may not have looked it, but, and particularly aftershave balm, for me, this is where the sort of the sweetness of the orange and the lang lang really come out. I would say that for the soap and for the pre-shave oil, you definitely get more of a hint of the cedarwood. This stuff soaks in very quickly, is not greasy. Of course, it has that particular feel on your hands, and I always rinse my hands no matter which one I use. But that is a very, very nice, and this post-shave on the soap, by the way, is really good. No tightness in my skin, no weird sort of hotness or like overly dry, none of that. A really nice, clean post-shave. All right, let me rinse my hands. Now, if you're wondering, do I miss the alcohol splash? That is, of course, a non-alcohol based aftershave. It's got all kinds of oils in there. I think there's mango and jojoba. I think there's hemp seed oil in there, witch hazel, aloe, a really nice mix of stuff. And it does not have any of that overly greasy feel. It has soaked in really easily. Skin feels nice and loose and supple. A very light remainder to the scent. But I do, and I know this is bad, but I do miss sort of that hit of the alcohol-based aftershave. But the fact is, I know that's not great for your skin, but the ones that I have, I just love those scents, and so it's a really easy trade-off for me. Put that on, and then when it's faded a bit, go back to something like that, which I'm trying to do more of, which is try to make sure that I am moisturizing my face every shave. It's very easy to forget because time gets kind of rushed in the morning. But the fact of the matter is, look, if you don't take care of yourself, who's going to take care of you? Really, think about it. All right, peeps, let's stop right there. That was a fantastic shave. Again, I am so pleased I've had a chance to go back and try again the rebirth of the Elvado shaving products. I thought the original stuff was fantastic. I used the cream and the aftershave stuff for a long time. In fact, I used them up, if I remember correctly, at least for one of those full pumps, which was a lot of soap. Very glad to see that they have produced another line for sale again. Shaving cream, nice and soft, excellent slickness, very easy to lather. Comes with a cool little plastic scooping spoon. You can put this in the container of your choice. Do not use a tall, narrow mug. Use something shallow and kind of wide, obviously much easier to load in. I will show you the cream again so you can take a careful look at it. It's got a kind of nice, lightly pearlescent look to it. Very, very nice stuff and excellent shaves. That was preceded, luckily, because I didn't forget, but I almost did, to use the pre-shave oil or beard oil, if you have a beard that you like to tend to, or as a very light post-shave, also worked quite well for that. And again, there is a lot of oil in this bottle. So it may look like a small bottle, but you're only really using a few drops, honestly, to be able to cover your face. Just remember, it is a glass tube in the stopper, so just be careful when using that. Followed up by the aftershave balm. Very nice, easy to apply, a very nice thickness, not too viscous, not too thin, very easy to apply. One pump seems plenty. A pump and a half is just probably a little more. 2 pumps is just too much for me. As I said, I think this brush, which they do offer as part of their premium kit, I think there are definitely better options, and I hope they'll go back and reconsider this as part of the offering. I think there are definitely better options out there to provide as part of this overall grooming kit. Let's not forget the chiseled face legacy all titanium razor. Still loving this thing. I'll be shaving with this not next week, because I actually have a razor for review, but then for the next couple weeks for sure, I'll be sticking with this razor because it's an absolute delight to use. Love it. And then finally, let's not forget, even though I know Steven hates making these types of handles because they're kind of boring and they don't have all the kind of the cool shapes on there, I love this brush handle. I think the shape is fantastic. It's so easy to hold. It's just really ergonomic. Color combination is fantastic. And the knot is I want to say it's a B7 from Declaration Grooming. Either way, a very nice, very easy to use badger knot. I think people have by far favorites that are not the B7, but for me, that knot actually's got a nice mix of kind of density and structure to it without a lot of like overly floppy splay or having to worry about gel tips or anything like that. My friends, I think we've covered it. I think that's it for today. I want to thank you all again so much for watching. Thank you all again so much for the very kind comments. There will be a number of these coming in future. I don't know for how long or how many, but I do have a number of things to go through and review. So I'm very glad to be able to offer some shave reviews again. And I'm really, really glad you're enjoying it. Thanks so much for watching again. As always, please feel free to comment on this video or any previous video. And until next time, my friends, goodbye.